Today, we are going to recap a 2017 Korean fantasy movie called Along with the Gods, The Two Worlds. Three Grim Reapers guide a man through the 7 trials of hell in the afterlife. We will take a look at his virtues and sins throughout his life as well as the consequences of his actions. To help you better understand this movie, in the Buddhist religion, when a person dies, they will go through 7 trials of judgment. The trial takes place once a week, hence 7 multiplies 7 equals 49 days. Spoilers ahead. Thank you for tuning in and have a great time. Kim Ja-hong is a brave firefighter who jumps from a building holding a young girl. He takes the full force of the impact. He gets up and walks over to check on her, who's reunited with her parents. He asks her for her name, but she ignores him and walks away with her parents without acknowledging him. Ja-hong senses something strange. As he looks around, he hears someone calling his name. He turns around to see a man and a woman, formally dressed and smiling gracefully. He looks to the side and notices a group of his fellow firemen surrounding a body. Upon a closer look, he realizes it's his body. Shocked with disbelief, he starts panicking. The man and woman introduce themselves as Haewon and Deokchun, 2 of the 3 guardians who will be guiding him through the 7 trials of hell. They tell him that he died today, on April 28, 2017. Ja-hong begs them to let him see his mother one last time. He is then forced through a portal to the afterlife. Outside the entrance of the afterlife, he is introduced to the 3rd guardian, Gang Lim, who's highly respected for successfully guiding 47 souls through the 7 trials in the past 1,000 years. At the entrance, Chun presents Ja-hong's ticket to the trial of the 7 hells. She is surprised that he's a paragon, a person who lived a righteous life and died an honorable death. She mentions that he's the first paragon in 422 years and has the highest chance of passing all 7 trials within the 49-day time limit. If he succeeds, he can be reincarnated as human. They enter through the gates to their first stop, the Hell of Murder. If Ja-hong had murdered or indirectly caused someone death, he will be found guilty and imprisoned here to suffer half a century of torment. Ja-hong stands before the god of murder, and the ground opens, leaving him stranded on a pillar surrounded by lava and tormented souls. His charges are read by 2 prosecutors. They mention an injured colleague he left behind, trapped in a burning building, and suggest that he had enough time to rescue him, but didn't, and it led to his death. The prosecutors then bring forward the charge of manslaughter, a sentence spanning 50 years in the Hell of Murder. Gang Lim stands before the court as Ja-hong's attorney. He starts replaying the incident for the court. When Ja-hong attempted to help his colleague, they heard the screams of the other survivors. The colleague told Ja-hong to help them first, and after Ja-hong got all the survivors out of the building, he returned for him, but it was too late. Gang Lim tells the judge that after leaving his colleague to save 8 people, 8 lives were saved in exchange for 1, and punishment would be unfair. The judge agrees and clears Ja-hong of all charges before praising him as a hero. Although he passes the first trial, Ja-hong is greatly affected by the memories of his colleague's death. He asks the guardian why they are helping him, as he doesn't believe he's a paragon. The guardians reveal they made a deal with the god king of hell. If they're able to help 49 souls pass the trials and reincarnate within a century, they will also be reborn as human. They arrive at the Hell of Indolence. A large roller can be seen crushing all those who can't escape in time, and the water is full of flesh-eating fish. Before the goddess of indolence, Chun proves Ja-hong wasn't lazy or arrogant and explains all the good selfless work he'd endured throughout his life. The goddess was so moved by Ja-hong's contributions, she ordered the prosecutors to build a statue in his honor. However, when she asks him why he lives his life so selflessly, Ja-hong replied it was simply for money. Angered by his response, the goddess says that since money was his god, he worshipped the wrong god. She then instructs the prosecutors to lower him into the roller. As he was about to get lower, Gang Lim and Haewon jumped in to help. The reason Ja-hong is motivated by money was because he comes from a poor family and wanted to support his mother who was sick and his brother who wanted to go to law school. Without his support, his family wouldn't have survived. He worked so hard that he often disregarded his own health, and his desire for money is therefore not due to selfishness. After realizing Ja-hong's true motivations, the goddess finds him not guilty and allows him to pass. On their way to the next trial, the group is ambushed by monsters of the Blade Forest. They barely escape the forest when Haewon tells Ja-hong that the monster's attack means a family member of his has died and become a vengeful spirit. They're now roaming the earth, which is causing anomalies along his path to the trial. Ja-hong is worried his mother may have passed away. Gang Lim tells them the only way to stop this is to find the body of the family member and burn it, which will destroy the spirit. So, he makes his way to the realm of the living to find the body. The other 2 guardians blindfold Ja-hong as the monsters can see through his eyes, and they lead him to the next trial, the Hell of Deceit. Here, Ja-hong will be judged by whatever lies he told and the impact they had. The prosecutors present the charge of forgery, 98 fake letters that were written by him to the children of his fallen colleagues. One case is brought forward. The dead colleague he failed to rescue. His young daughter received letters from him impersonating her father. In the letters, he encouraged and guided her while giving her hope. Ja-hong explains that she's very young and wanted to give her some comfort. The prosecutors ask if he ever took into consideration the despair she would feel once she discovered the letters were fake. Jahong is lost for words, which angers and prompts the judge to have his tongue removed. Chun then defends him by bringing forth even more fake letters, the ones he sent to his mother. In these letters, Jahong tells his mother of his wonderful family, his wife and son, and his amazing life, which were all lies as he was never married or had any kids. Chun states that Jahong written these letters to his mother while she was sick in the hospital, to give her joy and strength. The prosecutors ask again about the despair his mother may suffer once she finds out it was all lies, but Chun argues that had he not written those letters in the first place, they might not have moved on. The judge is then shown how happy Jahong's mom was when she read the letters and how the letters encouraged his fallen colleague's daughter to write back to her father and thank him for all his encouraging words before moving on. The judge clears him of all charges and allows him to pass. On Earth, Gang Lim visits Jahong's house to find his mother, who is a mute woman, and tells her he came to pay his respects to her late son. If the mother is alive, it means it's Jahong's brother, Kim Soo-hong, who passed away, and he finds him hiding in a burning candle. Gang Lim confronts the spirit of the brother and asks where he died, but the spirit escapes and a wild chase ensues. After failing to catch the spirit, Gang Lim reunited with the rest and tells Jahong that his mom and brother are fine. As Jahong rejoices, Gang Lim tells the other two guardians the truth about Jahong as brother and says that it's best for the sake of the trials that he doesn't know. Gang Lim resumes his mission to find and destroy the spirit while the group continue the journey to the next trial. Along the way, Jahong tells Chun about a rice cooker he bought for his mother before he died, as a thank you for all the delicious scorched rice she made him and his brother when they were kids. In the rice cooker, he left a letter and told her the truth about how he had lied in previous letters just to make her happy and proud, and how he missed her so much. The group then traveled to the Hell of Injustice, a place where souls are punished for up to hundreds of years for refusing to help those in need in the living world. Because Jahong is a paragon, he gets a free pass without a trial. On Earth, Gang Lim goes to the military base where Soo-hong was stationed. He discovers Soo-hong is labeled a deserter, and the military is looking for him, but it's quite odd he would desert since he was only a few days away from being discharged. Disguised as a commander investigating Soo-hong, he questions Lieutenant Park, who plays Soo-hong on duty, and suspects he's hiding something. He turns back time to the night of Soo-hong's disappearance. That night, Dong-yun, a fellow soldier, was scared that Soo-hong wouldn't be there to deter his bullies after he leaves. Right after they embrace, Soo-hong tells Dong-yun to hold his rifle properly, and in trying to do so, he accidentally shot him. Soo-hong tells him to call for help. When Lieutenant Park rushes over, he decides not to report it as it might affect his promotion. He instead persuades Dong-yun to help him hide the body, while telling him it's what Soo-hong would have wanted. Gang Lim notices that Soo-hong wasn't dead, and they unknowingly buried him alive to cover up the incident. After finding the body, Gang Lim decides not to destroy it, but to save the soul of Soo-hong by helping him shed his vengeance. In the afterlife, they're riding a cable car to their next trial. The ride reminds Jahong of his little brother who loves cable cars. Chun tells him that she envies him, as the guardians who were once mortals on Earth are wiped of the memories of their past lives. An argument between her and Hae-won leads him to reveal that Jahong's brother is dead and a vengeful spirit. Jahong is devastated to learn the news, and the cable car suddenly comes to a halt, while they almost fall out of the carriage. Gang Lim follows a drunk Dong-yun into a club where he spots the spirit trying to kill him. Another wild chase ensues, and he finally captures him. He pleads with Soo-hong to come with him to help his brother along the trial. Before escaping, Soo-hong reveals he hates his brother and hasn't seen him in 15 years since he ran away from the family. Dong-yun then arrives at Jahong mom's house and throws something inside before running away. The mom discovers that it's a map leading to her son's body. Dong-yun attempts to take his own life while Gang Lim watches. Soo-hong then appears behind Gang Lim and pleads with him to save Dong-yun, and in return he'll do whatever he asks. Gang Lim reluctantly agrees, while sternly stating that meddling in the world of the living will result in consequences along Jahong's trial. Using Gang Lim as his voice, Soo-hong first sings the song he wrote to prove it's him. Then he tells him that he has forgiven him, and he should move on. Jahong and the two guardians arrive at the fifth trial, the Hell of Betrayal, where souls are punished for selfish betrayals by being trapped within a mirror and destroyed. Queen Song-hee lets Jahong pass without a trial as he is a paragon of righteousness. To get to the next trial, the group must travel down a vacuum sinkhole, which leads to the Hell of Violence. Here, Gang Lim's meddling in the living world takes effect, and the group falls through miles of giant rocks. Once Gang Lim is done, Jahong and the other two guardians come to a halt and are presented in front of the God of Violence. Jahong is charged for beating his younger brother, who was suffering from malnutrition, for no apparent reason. It was after this incident that he ran away from home and his brother never forgave him. The guardians try to make their defense, but the God of Violence says no defense can be made. There is a clear victim and Jahong was never forgiven. He swiftly rushes to his verdict while the two guardians try to get Gang Lim to help. Gang Lim tells Chun to request a combined trial, but Hae-won is extremely reluctant to go along with this. Chun then requests a combined trial, and it is granted. A combined trial means that this charge will be presented in the next court along with the charges of that trial. If the defendant is found guilty of both the charges in the next court, there will be additional punishments for the defendant and his guardians will be stripped of their status. The group then heads over to the next trial, the Hell of Filial Impiety, where souls are judged on how well they respected their parents. Before they reach the court, Jahong confesses to the two guardians that he wasn't a good son. His mom was dying of terminal illness, and they had nobody else. His brother and him were starving each day, and it was only a matter of time before they all suffered a terrible fate. On that night 15 years ago, when he ran away from home, he tried to end their suffering. He tried to kill his mother while she was asleep, but his brother had woken up and tried to stop him, so he beat him up and ran away out of guilt. Had he gone through with it, he was going to crush up all the sleeping pills and put them in the food the next day, and his brother and him were going to die as well. He never saw his mother or brother ever since and only sent her letters. Hae-won is pissed. After Gang Lim helps Soo-hong restore his soul, Soo-hong sees his mother enter the base and confront them about her son. Since she is mute, she has a message pleading with them to help her find her son over her chest. Lieutenant Park stops her and pushes her away, which angers Soo-hong. Eventually, she shows Lieutenant Park the map, which infuriates him even more, and he shoves her to the ground after taking it from her. She fainted and was carried into an ambulance. Witnessing this, Soo-hong unleashes his vengeful spirit once more, and he conjures up a huge tornado in pursuit of Lieutenant Park. This affects the afterlife once more, and sand demons begin to attack Jahong and the two guardians. After failing to free Lieutenant Park from Soo-hong, Gang Lim calls upon Hae-won to help him. As a fierce battle ensues between both parties, Jahong is slowly being swallowed by the ground. Once Gang Lim and Hae-won get Park to safety, Soo-hong witnesses his brother being swallowed by sand and decides to end his pursuit for vengeance and restore his soul. As soon as he does so, the court of the final trial emerges before Jahong. The King of Hell reads out Jahong's charge. He states that Jahong had tried to kill his mother 15 years ago, and for that reason, he will be sentenced. Chun pleads with the king, mentioning that Jahong's mother was asleep during the incident and unaware of it. So how can he be punished for a sin against his mother that he didn't even commit, and she doesn't even know of? The King of Hell corrects her by revealing within the mirror of karma that Jahong's mother did in fact know the entire time. She only pretended to be asleep. When Jahong was about to kill her, she cried as it broke her heart, but she knew that this would allow her children a better life, so she was willing to sacrifice herself for their sake. Upon finding out that his mother knew all this time, Jahong falls to his knees and bursts into tears, pleading with the king to punish him as he deserves it. The prosecutors then read out all of the charges. As they do so, an earthquake interrupts them. In the mirror of karma, we see Soo-hong enter his mother's dream while she is unconscious in the ambulance. In a sad, heartfelt scene, we see Soo-hong sitting in front of his mother back at home. He lied to her that he is a Supreme Court judge in heaven, and jokingly introduced her to Gang Lim and Hae-won as his subordinates. While holding back tears, he tells her that he can't visit her anymore. He's been assigned to be heaven's judge, and don't go back to the base to look for him. While crying, he reminds his mother about the hard times they suffered, when he was suffering from malnutrition and how she was so sick she couldn't even move. Soo-hong confronts her about knowing the truth, how she knew that Jahong tried to end the whole family due to their suffering. Instead, he stayed away from them out of guilt and worked every day his entire life to support them. Had he not done so, they wouldn't have survived. Soo-hong asks for her forgiveness on behalf of his brother, and for the first time, he hears her speak. She calls his name and tries to comfort him. She tells them it's none of their fault, it was all her fault. Their only sin in life was having a terrible mother who couldn't provide for them. She hugs Soo-hong while crying and apologizes. Upon hearing this, the Hell King decides that there are no charges. A sin forgiven in the living world cannot be punished in the underworld. And so, he instructs that upon his arrival through the heavenly gates, Jahong be reincarnated immediately. Jahong thanks Chun before he leaves. In the living world, Gang Lim does one last thing for Jahong. He delivers the rice cooker to his mom at the hospital. When she got home, she opens the rice cooker and finds the letter. In the letter, he revealed the truth, that he would watch her while she was selling fruits and vegetables at the market without her noticing, how he lied about having a wife that makes scorched rice like her, and how he has a son that looks like him. He misses her a lot and will come home soon, before it's too late. With tears rolling down her eyes, she hugs the letter and smiles. That's the end of this recap. Thanks for watching and staying till the end. Please subscribe, share, and like. See you at the next one.